Okay, so welcome to the virtual training as we return to work and getting back out in the field. Before we begin, I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me in that. If there's kind of any interruptions or it cuts out at all during the time, Mark and Russell will kind of give me a heads up to let me know, just because I can't see the chat or you guys during the training. I do ask that you guys hold your questions to the end, just because we will probably answer a lot of the questions throughout the training, and that will just ensure that we get through it quickly. So we're going to start by looking at what we're going to cover today. So today's training is going to talk about the SSG objectives as we return to play, which includes what we are doing, why we are doing it, who is involved, and how we are going to get back to play. Then we'll dive into the ambassador guidelines and spend most of our time talking about protecting you, reviewing your staff tab, preparing for your shifts, and ensuring you are set up for success. Next, we will review a few guidelines that will teach some necessary skills to keep you and the SSG community safe. Then we'll review some of the member guidelines that you will need to understand in order to enforce on site. This is important to ensure a smooth transition as the SSG community works together to navigate this playing field. Then we'll move to case protocol and contact information before opening the call to any questions you have. After questions are done, we will do a final wrap up and share the quiz with you. Let's get started. We set out to return to play with a few objectives in mind. We know this has been very different times for everyone and a lot has changed in the world. You may be nervous about returning to work and members may be nervous about returning to play. We want you to know that we hear you. We also want you to remind you that we offer a service which benefits the well-being of many, both mentally and physically. So our service is more important now than ever before. Our team has been working hard to ensure that we are ready to create a safe environment for our ambassadors and members. Today, we will review some of our new guidelines and some of the steps we've put in place to keep you safe. Please keep in mind that as government decisions evolve, these guidelines will change as well. As always, it is extremely important that we work with our permit partners to come up with collaborative solutions. Each region and venue may have different guidelines, and we are prepared to work together with them. Lastly, we are prepared to respond quickly to any sign of infection, as our main priority is the safety of the SSG community. Now you may think those guidelines sound great, but how does SSG plan to actually do this? Well, first, we are really looking forward to getting back to playing. This excitement and positive attitude has kept our spirits high, and we hope that you feel this as we strive to be the best part of Members Day. Second, our efforts have included working with various levels of government, key members in our organization, and other clubs just like ours across North America. We've put together guides, training, kits, and support systems to ensure our ambassadors will be prepared and comfortable to carry out their full duties on site. While we've been preparing behind the scenes, we want to highlight the vital role you play in the success of returning to play. We are all on the same team, striving for the same goal of a safe return. As always, you have the advantage of a real-time, on-site perspective, which is very valuable to the rest of the team. If you have recommendations, suggestions, or feedback, please share it with us. While we may not be able to implement everything, we value your insights. These guidelines are now available in your email. We've included a visual here for you, but we will ask that you keep this guidelines handy and refer to it as a refresher before each shift. We cannot stress enough how important these guidelines are and how important it is that you lead by example on site. We wanted to highlight a few things for our team. Please stay informed. Things can change quickly over the coming months, and we will do our best to communicate to you, but the best way to keep yourself safe is to be familiar with new guidelines and updates from your local public health unit. As ambassadors with us, it is your duty to be familiar with these guidelines as well as the member guidelines. Being familiar and understanding these guidelines completely will keep you safe and make it easier to enforce on site, which makes your job easier. These guidelines may change in the future. Rules may change. There may be specific notes about a sport or venue you're working. So before each shift, you must review the details in your staff tab. I'm just going to show you quickly kind of an idea of what this will look like. So when you're in your sport and social club profile, you see your registrations. You will all have a staff tab here that will show you the start time and end time of your shift. This is just an example. And then if you're working at the docks, you can click on that link to get more details, which will open a page that looks like this to tell you all the details you need to know about that specific venue. And here's where you'll confirm your shift. You click the green check mark to say yes, I'm committed to being there. If you ever can't make a shift, you need to reach out to myself directly or the SSG admin team before ever hitting the red X. You can see the schedule here, which will look like this for the time being in terms of training. So for example, on port 1, Sarah's team will have port 1 all to themselves, and they're not playing against anybody. It'll just be training for right now. So this is what the schedule is going to look like for the next few weeks. And then you will have a notes tab as well if there's anything that you specifically need to know about your shift, which you can see in your profile here. So if you just click on it, it'll come up and show you kind of the notes that you need to know about that particular shift. And then once your shift has finished, you'll get a green plus sign here that will allow you to submit your shift report and let us know what happened during the evening of your shift. So before each shift, you must review any shift details you receive via email or in your staff tab. Be sure to check the schedule and rules in your profile so you know what to expect when you head to your shift. Again, this is to prepare you and keep you and members safe. While your role is similar, the key aspects of your role now include directing member flow, enforcing SSG and public health guidelines, and depending on the venue, you may need to sanitize equipment using the provided safety kits. One big shift is that we will not be providing first aid supplies such as Band-Aids or ice packs. First aid is solely the responsibility of team captains. In the event an ambulance is needed, please assist and be sure to report to the SSG admin team via the help phone and your shift report. Now let's dive into these guidelines a bit more so that everyone is crystal clear on their responsibilities. This list of items will ensure you are prepared prior to and during your shift. Please review before each shift. In order to keep you safe and to contain the potential spread of COVID-19, it is essential that those exhibiting symptoms, waiting for test results, or who are instructed to be in isolation, stay home. If you are experiencing symptoms before your shift, please call telehealth or your local healthcare provider to determine the correct next steps. If you are scheduled for a shift, please contact the SSG admin team. In most cases, that will likely be Emma directly via email to let us know that you are unable to make your current shifts. We ask that all ambassadors lead by example to keep yourself and others safe. Wash your hands with soap and water often, especially when you're returning home after your shift. During your shift, use the hand sanitizer provided as much as you can, especially before and after touching any equipment. Do your absolute best to not touch your eyes, nose, or mouth with unwashed hands. I know it's easier said than done, but we encourage you to make this a habit. We will provide all ambassadors with non-medical masks. We require you to wear the mask for the duration of your shift. Think of it like your staff shirt, just another part of your uniform. Whistles will not be used for the foreseeable future. Please use your voice to communicate with members. Hand signals can also assist in communicating with them. We're also looking to use air horns at bigger venues. Ambassadors must review all the details in their staff tab. Just saying it again, as it's very important. In leading by example and keeping yourself safe, you must maintain physical distancing, keeping a hockey stick distance away from others. We will provide you with a safety kit. You must bring this to all your shifts, no exceptions. If you need it restocked, it is your responsibility to let the office know either through your shift report, help phone, or email. Please remind members to take everything with them. We ask them to not leave anything on site, including garbage and equipment, but a friendly reminder will go a long way. Venues will not store any items that are left, and we do not want you to have to take them with you. So let's all work to ensure members take home what they came with. We need all ambassadors to be actively enforcing the member guidelines that we'll review shortly. We have done our best to share the guidelines with members through emails, support rules, and captain's meetings, and we expect that the majority of members are going to be appreciative and respectful of these rules. However, there may be a few who just need to know someone is watching, which is where you come in. Please remind members of expectations and guidelines, as this is how we will ensure that we can keep playing and maintain the safety of the SSG community. If members are constantly breaking rules or are not being respectful, please let us know. If you need assistance dealing with an issue on site, please call the help phone for assistance. Please keep communication open. We can only assist when we are aware that assistance is needed. This is a full team effort and we can all support one another. A few other notes that will help you with your shifts. There may be some situations where certain venues have additional guidelines or requests. If we are aware ahead of time, we will communicate via email or your staff tab, as these facility guidelines will override ours. In some cases, these guidelines may not become known until we arrive on site. In this case, ask venue staff how you can help and work together to find solutions that will work for them and us. As always, if this occurs, keep us in the loop so that we can let other ambassadors know. Every time you arrive for a shift, check out the space. Take a walkthrough of the venue to familiarize yourself with the space. This gives you a chance to come up with the preemptive solutions to member traffic flow, distancing, and safety. We've told members that they are to arrive just for their scheduled time, ready to go, and to leave the space promptly once their time is up. If members arrive earlier, please ask them to return at their scheduled time. It is your responsibility to manage the flow of traffic. Please arrive at your shifts ready to go, as washrooms and change rooms may not be available. The majority of equipment will be brought by members and taken with members. In some cases, such as beach volleyball, our ambassadors will be responsible for managing and sanitizing equipment. We will provide you with the necessary supplies to do this. As ambassadors, we need you to lead by example. This includes demonstrating proper etiquette by sneezing into your elbow or a tissue or disinfecting your hands, and ensuring that any cleaning supplies are properly disposed of. We've included a few highlights of the member guidelines that we want to ensure ambassadors are enforcing. This includes reminding players to leave nothing on site, to maintain physical distancing when not on the field of play, and to do cheers instead of handshakes. We'll dive more in depth on the member guidelines shortly. For your reference, safety kits could include the items you see listed here and others depending on the shift that you are working. The City of Toronto has asked that prior to attending any outdoor venues that each individual completes a self-assessment. While this may not be mandatory in your region or your shift, it is best practice to always be monitoring for these symptoms and completing regular self-assessments. Please monitor for these symptoms. If you start to experience these symptoms, stay home and contact telehealth or your healthcare provider for next steps. Please ensure to complete a self-assessment by 10 a.m. of the day of your shift to give time to find coverage if needed. We ask that you do not attend shifts if you are experiencing symptoms for your safety and the safety of the SSG community. If you are unable to attend a shift, you must contact Emma or the SSG admin team. More details on contacting the SSG admin team is included at the end of this training. The number one way to protect yourself is to wash your hands. To ensure that your hands are squeaky clean, follow these steps. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based sanitizer. Non-medical masks are only effective when you put it on properly, take it off properly, and wash your hands before and after touching the mask. A few steps to follow when putting on your mask. Wash your hands before you start any of these steps. Keep your hair away from your face. Place the mask over your mouth and nose snugly. There should be no gaps. Be sure it fits comfortably and that it's easy to breathe. This will ensure you avoid adjusting the mask while using it. Avoid touching your face and mask while using it. Do not leave your mask around your neck, hanging from your ear or your forehead. Do not share your mask with others. When you're ready to remove your mask, remove the mask without touching the outside of it. Do not touch your eyes, nose, or mouth when removing the mask. Put the mask directly into the laundry, a sealed plastic bag, or dispose of it properly in the garbage. Wash your hands thoroughly after removing your mask. A few other reminders. Change your mask if it is damp or soiled. Wash cloth mask after each use in the laundry with other items using a hot cycle. To keep you safe going to and from your shift, we recommend you put the mask on before heading to your shift and remove when you're home so you can dispose of it correctly and wash your hands thoroughly. When cleaning equipment, please use the cleaning supplies provided to you in the kit that is stored on site. These kits include gloves, cleaning solution, and paper towels or wipes depending on the location and equipment on site. Prior to cleaning anything, please familiarize yourself with the kit and read all labels and instructions. Gloves must be worn when cleaning equipment. Take extra care to not touch your eyes or face while cleaning. Spray equipment and wipe down or wipe down using the wipes provided. Try to clean commonly touched areas the most. Ensure all supplies are appropriately disposed of immediately in the garbage. If supplies are getting low, let us know in your shift report. Once equipment has been cleaned, wash or disinfect your hands before doing anything else. We have created and shared specific member guidelines to keep members, you, and the SSG community safe. Members must follow these guidelines in addition to any venue guidelines and league-specific rules. Each sport has updated rules to accommodate these guidelines. It is extremely important that you understand what is expected of members at all times, as each venue and sport may differ, and the guidelines will change as restrictions evolve. This is why we ask you to review your email, staff tab, schedule, rules, and guidelines before each shift. Please familiarize yourself with these guidelines found in the general guidelines for your club. A few highlights include: only players are permitted during their scheduled time. There should be no spectators. Members can do cheers, but no handshakes. Members are expected to follow public health guidelines of frequent hand washing, covering coughs and sneezing, and maintaining physical distancing. As stated in these guidelines, members are expecting league ambassadors to enforce these on site. At many points during this training, it was mentioned how critical it is to keep us in the loop. Here's the key contact information for how to do that. We are here to support you as best we can as we all work together to return to play. While we have put a number of guidelines in place to keep you and the SSG community safe, COVID-19 is a new beast, and there's still a risk that it can affect someone in the SSG community. Many of you are probably wondering what happens if someone does contract COVID-19. Here are a few steps that we have put in place. What we want you to know is that we will follow the necessary steps required by public health to ensure that effective contact tracing can take place while maintaining necessary confidentiality. While we ensure that the appropriate people in the SSG community are contacted quickly and appropriately, this is why it's important to keep us in the loop on what is happening at your shifts so that we can all work together to mitigate the risk of this occurring. I'll now open the floor to questions from you guys, but please do stay on